Kennedy Urlacher to USC?
So it's kind of funny with Kennedy Urlacher is like, and this just speaks to the depth of the program and the health of the program. And everyone's regurgitated this 100 times, and it can't be regurgitated enough that like this is the kind of transfer that a decade ago would have been a killer to this program. Losing someone like Kennedy Urlacher would have been a killer. But losing Kennedy Urlacher now is you're losing a guy who's probably on the 3 deep. Like maybe your fourth safety rotated in, but probably more likely your 5th or 6th. So it's not, and it's the recruiting behind him and over him and around him. And that's how it all goes. And this is what healthy programs do. And when you see, previous years, this is the kind of stuff that would happen to Alabama and Georgia. And you would see these extremely talented players getting caught in these log jams and transferring out and then just getting replaced with better players or more players. And it's just, this is the reality of it. You can't keep a 5, 6 safeties of that. The freshmen are going to have to be that. And that's just the way that it is if you're not cracking the 2 deep as a sophomore or junior, the guys coming up behind you, they're already knocking on the door and you just move on. So these depth charts now are going to be filled with a lot more freshmen than they previously were. There's not, for most programs in America, you got to make your move early.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy that you made that point with the transfer portal too. It kind of, I think where this sticks with me is just the, former recruiting director going to USC, poaching, a guy who did play in all the games last year, was mainly special teams, but had 12 tackles. I believe he also had like a fumble recovery, during the season and a pass breakup. Like I felt like he could have been something next year even. Like there wasn't really very many defensive packages where we would have seen him, as you mentioned at the start, but I definitely think that he would have been an impact player over the next couple of years. So that's what really stinks to me. And, him going to USC just is kind of that's
the part that stinks is you can't go to Michigan, you can't go to USC. Anywhere else you go is fine. It's whatever. But you can't go to Michigan and you can't go to USC. And he went to USC. And, Notre Dame took a USC player, right? And I think if you wanted to look at it, they took Elijah Hughes as a D tackle. And if you're asking me if I would rather have Elijah Hughes or Kennedy Urlacher, I'd say I'd rather have Elijah Hughes. I mean, safeties, the Notre Dame is stacked in their safety room. They have an established 2 deep that I feel really good about, and he wasn't going to be a part of that. But interior defensive linemen, you got to have a rotation. And we don't know what Onye is going to look like, and the health of the guys is going to be a key because, both Mills and Cross went down at varying points during the last year. It's just it's a unicorn position, that interior. So the more guys you can stack there, the better. So if we want to go circle back to the trade that is Nico or, the App State kid, if this was a trade, I think Notre Dame came out on top of this trade. The name Urlacher is pretty impressive, but he still was, I think he was like a 3-star kid. So it's not like they're losing 5-star talent on that back end.
Yeah, I mean, that's true too. I think that the name just isn't, very similar to like a CJ Carr situation is always going to, have some sort of carry. But yeah. I mean, I'm just more so it's just the poaching of the players. It's like, but it's a common thing in the transfer portal. It's a common thing in college football. It makes sense. He's going to go to where maybe he feels like he's most could be best utilized, but also just like most appreciated and where he can trust. When you make these decisions over a couple of days, obviously there's probably a little bit of tampering, but when still it's a quick decision. You have to make it, and I see why he would want to go there, but also
I'm sure Chad Bowden had his cell phone in his contact list, his number in his contact list as well. So that probably didn't hurt. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at USC's depth chart at the safety position, and they have a super senior, a redshirt senior transfer, and Bishop Fitzgerald, and another redshirt junior transfer at the free safety spot. So, I mean, and then they got a freshman in the 3 deep. So all he's got to do is, he could crack the 2 deep at USC, and he could definitely be starting by next year. He would not be starting at Notre Dame next year, is the reality of the situation. So,
and that's why people enter the portal. That makes sense. All right, so Zach Yoakum, place kicker, moves on. I don't believe he's found a new home just yet. Have you seen anything on that?
I haven't seen that. I mean, kickers, they'll get through fall. He'll probably get picked up at some point during fall camp, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
you would imagine.
Mostly a kickoff specialist, did kick a bunch of extra points. But doesn't have sterling field goal statistics. I think it was sub 50%. I can pull his stats real quick.
Yeah, I think it was 40%. He missed a couple from 30 to 39, and then one from 40 to 49.
Yeah, that's and the thing about that position now, anyway. Notre Dame's got Noah Burnett, transfer from North Carolina. And next year they're gonna pull in another transfer. Like, why would you sign a kicker? Like, why would you sign a kicker? Just get somebody who has experience. Like, you don't want someone coming out, you're playing in Coral Gables week 1 on a Sunday night, and you don't want a kid kicking his first real field goal at night on the road on a Sunday. Like, give me a break. No, Notre Dame probably will never sign another kicker in the entirety of Marcus Freeman's tenure here. Like, what's the point? You bring in somebody who has experience kicking and who's done it before, and then you don't want growing pains with your kicker. Like, the one thing you cannot have is a kicker who doesn't make field goals or rattled
or
in
an injured
big
kicker.
Yeah, or an injured kicker. But
that would suck too. It's just always interesting. I made a video too on this channel about the kicking situation. Like, this was at the very kind of beginning of spring. So it's interesting to see Yoakum enter the transfer portal after all of this goes down. But it's like kind of the wild, wild west for kickers in a sense, because I know a lot of people feel the same way as you do, where you're not signing a kicker straight out of high school just simply because you have too many big games where you need to trust a guy and you need him to knock down some field goals, and you don't want to take that risk. And it makes sense. But I'm surprised for the fall designation. I mean, I guess I'd imagine somebody might end up picking him up, or he might end up going somewhere, maybe even prior to that. But I admittedly, I've only really known that it is just kind of crazy. Just like a crazy world where it just feels like it's slim. It's not slim pickings, but it's tough for some of the kickers to find homes in general too. So,
yeah, if you don't get that job early on, it's probably hard to find yourself latched in until you get to fall camp, and then they start doing kicking drills because there's not really a premium I'm looking for it now. It's like it's not like you need to coach them up, right? I mean, how much time are you going to dedicate to finding your kicker now? I mean, what does it matter if you sign them now or during the next window? It's just
not often do you have a situation. You're right. It makes sense. Like, not often do you have a situation where they need to be adjusted to the specific style that maybe a team runs their punts or their kickoffs. I believe there was there was a situation that happened in Nebraska where the punter transferred in, and then they went with some sort of kicking style away from the way that he was accustomed to, and so then he transferred out. So you see it sometimes, but yeah, I know, right? Of course, there's always one example for something.
Something ridiculous.
Yeah, for something ridiculous.
I love it, and I think the thing that I love the most about college football, more so than the NFL or maybe any sport, and what makes it so much fun. And you wondered if the corporatization and the sort of movement to this expanded playoff and the transfer portal and all of this, and we're looking at like the death of amateurism, whatever. it's still hilariously ridiculous. And that's what I love about it, is that there's still you still have something like the quarterback swap at Tennessee and UCLA, and you still have like punters transferring out after they change their punt. Like this is ridiculous. And I love it. I love the utter absurdity of it, because it's just, you look at where else does this happen but college football? And I love that. It's just delightful.
And then Matt Rule getting up on a press conference and explaining like how great of a punter he was, how great of a person he was, stand-up dude, and was just like, this is what happened, this is why it happened, and this is where we're going after this. It does get to be, it's like, is this like a sketch? Is this some sort of TV show? Like you almost can't even write this.
Yeah, this is your punter. What are you doing?